Hey, good morning, everyone. Yes, so welcome to this new day, a new season, and the new era that we're in with our representations and with what it is that we do. And this morning, we are very excited, yes, to once again stand to represent for change. And when we say we represent for change, we really say we stand for what is required. And I would like to welcome everyone into our rooms and everyone who has joined already and everyone who has always been tuned into our rooms to say that this is not a season where we are only speaking on what it is required, but what we speak is actually a reaction of someone else out there. And therefore, today, with representing with color, I would like to just introduce myself once again. I'm Rabia Elisa, and yeah, I just am inspired to motivate, inspired to represent, and inspired to be a difference with what it is that I do. And therefore, I will really continue to stand my ground and to really stand firm on what it is that I have to say during the season. And therefore, I am really inspired to really represent on my social pages during this season. And I think everyone who has really been loyal to me with regards to representing and with regards to what it is that I do, and for everyone out there who has always tuned in, I really want to thank you because it's not about me. It's really about getting the word out there that is required, the difference out there that we want to see in others. And I believe that, yes, we have lots of people tuned in and listening into our monthly discussions. And therefore, I would like to thank everyone who is loyal to us because we shall continue to be loyal. And with our loyalty, we also very focused on continuing to say what it is that we say rather than what it is that we want to say. And I believe that many times there's that anger, there's that resentment, there's that hatred. And when you represent, you normally speak for that you are angry about. But for me, it's not what we're angry about, but it's really what is meant to say and what we are required to say during this time. Because there can be anger, there can be resentment, but if you want to see a difference, then you're really gonna speak for what is better and what is right, rather than going on emotions. And therefore, I'm focusing with representing with color today on black and white overruled with color. So if you can see, my shirt goes hand in hand with our vision today that yes, we are in a season that everything that we do is about color. And every way that we represent is about us representing with a difference, because we have been manipulated in many ways and we have gone through many things as a generation. We stand for that requirement to represent with being the difference. So me representing is not only you being on your social page, you being on your YouTube page, but representing is what it is that we do. And therefore, when we do it, we do it to really be a difference. We really step out in our daily lives with that requirement to appear, with that requirement to be a difference, with that requirement to represent. And when I say that black and white is overruled with color, I say that what we used to see as this person or this certain nation as a black nation, and what we used to see as the certain peoples as white peoples, we now don't see them as black and white, but we now see the color that's required with what it is that we do. We now don't look at one another and say that you are still black, but we look at you and say that we need to work on something that we want to see the difference at. We want to see you representing. We used to see you representing. So sometimes when we are challenging ourselves with how it is that we speak, with what it is that we say, we don't say it to go and bully. We don't say it to ignore what we are going through. We say it to say that we are ready to prosper, that we are ready to appear, that we are ready to walk in our own shoes. that we are ready to inspire for our children to really be where they require to be, whether it's in schools, whether it's in extramural activities, whether it's in sports, whether it's in our Beijing Olympics. With everything that we do, we are required to appear with that difference, with that requirement of knowing that what I say is not just only going to impact me, it's going to impact my daughter. And when my daughter goes out into school, it's going to impact the school. And when the school children goes home, it's going to impact those children. So what it is that we do is us representing with that essence of a difference. And therefore, we don't do these things for ourselves. We don't do these things because we want to be on the platform. We do these things because we are who we are. And we are not going to allow anyone to tell us different. We are not going to allow anyone to tell us that this is not right. My lightning is right, not right. This is not right. But I am going to say that, you know what, I'm doing this not because I want to do this, but this is me. This is who I am. When I see something that is not right, when I see something that doesn't feel right for me, I will stand up for myself. And I always say, if people have an opinion, let them give an opinion. That's why we have our social pages there, is to say what it is that we experience and that we are being challenged with. And when we step out better. Then we don't have to look at someone else and not be able to greet them because we see them as a color black or as a color white. We look out there and we walk out on a daily basis to say, I am ready to say, how are you? Good morning, how are you? I am ready to look you in the face and say, how are you? And that is where we are required in this season. Sometimes we just walk by and not pass another. We don't look one another in the face because we still see that barrier of black, that barrier of white. And this morning I'm emphasizing that this black and this white overruled with this color. This color is the difference that we want to see. When I look at this shirt this morning that I have and I see the background is white. The background is the color that makes a difference. The background is not what people say and what people see concerning me. The background is who I am concerning myself, what I say concerning myself, because people can say much to influence me. People can say much to manipulate or abuse me, but only I can appear with being where I'm required to be in my season. And that's where Awokh is at during the season. Awokh is not there to bash people. Awokh is not there to hide what she's going through. Awokh is not there to manipulate others. Awokh is not out there to abuse on her social pages, but Awokh is there to be Rabia Elisa. That is what my business stands for. That is where I will continue to appear. I will continue to be me. And yes, sometimes it's not fine with others. Yes, sometimes other people are not fine with knowing who you are, with knowing the challenges that you go through. But sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes I will be on my social pages. I will say everything that I want to say concerning myself, because it's me myself that has to deal with the comments that comes back with what it is that I have set out there. And therefore I'm standing really, I don't hide for anyone. I'm really about being real. I'm really about being myself and about doing what I love doing. Yes, I love speaking and I love motivating and I love to see people find and to see people prosper in life. That is just who I am. And that is what Awokh stands for. Awokh will definitely also launch a fashion sense of what it is that we really see as a difference when it comes to fashion in this season. But while we are working on that project, we have to know that it does not stop with being a difference, with saying what it is required. Being a difference is what is it that we wear. Being a difference is what is it that we do. Being a difference is the color that you see when you look at someone. They might be wearing a black shirt, but that black shirt might speak of many things. And therefore, when you go on people's social pages this season, I want to ask you, don't just look at what it is that they post out there when they have an outfit on, but listen to the voice. Look with different eyes on those social pages. When you see Sister Antoinette standing there, look at what it is that she's saying concerning the outfit that she's wearing, because that's the season that we are in. I have learned that on her Instagram page, she's really spoken a lot and really encouraged us a lot as women on there, with really being proud of who we are, with not being scared to say what it is that we want to say, with not being scared to appear with anything concerning us, but to know that we have been born to be here, and therefore we represent with that color that is required in our everyday lives. And I want to thank my sister Antoinette for that, because we were in one vision, even though we didn't speak with one another concerning what it is that we do, concerning her fashion ideas and concerning what Awokh does. But when I saw her, I knew this is exactly where we are as women in a season. We are not in a season where we should look at one another's differences and where we should look at one another with that mindset of saying that I can't do this because this person is doing it, and I can't appear because that person is appearing. But as women in this season, we are required to take hands and to walk this road with being that color of a difference, with whether it is in our daily lives, in our jobs, whether it is with what it is that we do. We are required to appear and to say that we are ready to be here, and we shall continue to stand for that. And that is where we are in this season with Awokh. So first of all, just to start with black and white, overruled, with that color of a difference. And this morning when you look at that page, the only thing you see is black and is white. But this morning I say, see the color of a difference that's required. And that color that you don't see on this page this morning, that you don't see anything that is written on this page this morning, is the color this morning that is required in our daily lives with what it is that we do, with how it is that we are required to appear. And therefore, let us appear with that color of a difference, with that unique mindset, with that unique approach in our everyday lives. Thank you, my sis, for tuning, with our unique attitudes with what it is that we are doing. And in saying that, I want to say that when I speak concerning black and white overruled with color, I ask myself, how is it that I define myself as a woman? How is it that other people see me when they look at me? How is it that I define what it is that women stand for? How is it that I define the mother that has given birth? How is it that I define the young daughter that has grown up, that has gone through many challenges and that has got a story to say? How is it that I define myself when I look at my daughter that is now a teenager, that is now going into school, and that is now ready to be that essence of a difference herself with what it is that she does? How is it that I define myself when I see that my daughter is not me? She's totally different than how I used to be. She's totally got that way of saying that I speak in a different way, mommy, because I'm not your generation. I'm not your generation young daughter. I'm a daughter, a teenager in 2022. And because I'm a teenager in this era, I might not do the things the way you want me to do it. I might not react the way you reacted when your mother reprimanded you. I might not react by doing things that you have done when you are a teenager. But this morning it is, as a parent, as me, Rabia, how do I define myself when I am a mother parenting in my household and I look at my daughter and I see what's required of me in this season? I know that I am the only one that can answer those questions by saying it's either I will continue to know that in this season we accept where we are at, we accept what it is that we have been challenged with, and we try and prosper with where it is and what it is that we see going on around ourselves. It is not giving up on a child or on someone else because they have mistaken, because they have done wrong, because they are not agreeing with what it is that you say, but it is saying that continuously I will appear with being me. Yes, sometimes I'm going to have to come down a bit, and I'm going to have to know what it is that I need need to change in my life in order to understand where my daughter is at. And when I look at my daughter, I don't just look at her, but I look at the teenager out there today. I look at when I represent in my household with that color of a difference. How is it that someone else is going to see my daughter react when she is in school? And that is, how do I define myself with black and white overruling with that color of a difference? So what we do is not only that we do it for our households, no, because your household, what happens in your household affects the neighborhood, it affects the community, it affects a country, and it affects a generation. And therefore we are required to answer with all honesty to ourselves when we appear on a daily basis in our jobs, when we appear on a daily basis in our offices. We are required to answer those questions with all honesty. And sometimes honesty means you're gonna have to be loyal to yourself. You're gonna have to seek within yourself, what is it that I feel right with? Yes, I might be fine to dress in a certain way for one day or a time, but what is it that I feel fine with when I appear, when I do what it is that I do? And therefore, to also continue on that one, how do I define myself? It is, how do I feel right with myself? How do I feel fine with what it is that I do? How do I feel fine with representing, with mothering, with parenting, with being that friend of someone in the community, with being that representative? How is it that I define myself when people look at me? What is it that I see? Not what is it that they see that when I appear, but what is it that I see the difference concerning what it is that I do. That is black and white, overruled by color, overruled by attitude, overruled by anything that has to really be appearing in order for us to see the difference. Because sometimes we are so much clustered in our own ways, so much clustered in how we want to see things, that we don't see the color in things. That it's sometimes only emotions that overrule, that it's sometimes only anger that overrules, that it's sometimes only attitude that overrules. But when I say black and white overrules with that color, I mean overrules with removing the barrier of anger, with removing the barrier of hatred, with removing the barrier of resentment, with removing the barrier of abuse, with saying that I am ready to appear to be fine, to be well looked after. And that is where we have to be the color of a difference with what it is that we do. And yeah, so let me just to continue on this one, I also want to add that when I define myself, I have to define myself with saying, what is it that I accept upon myself? And when I say, what is it that I accept upon myself, I say that when I appear out there, or when someone does something that is not right with me, how is it that I accept what it is that they did on myself? How is it that I accept it upon myself if it is not me? So if someone has angered you, if someone has maybe manipulated you, or if someone has maybe said a word concerning you, how is it that you accept that word on yourself? Because you can either release it and let it go immediately, or you can be in that mindset where we were still fighting about black and white, where we were still fighting about this is black and this is white. You can be still in that apartheid mindset where we were still fighting and saying, but this is black and you don't come in here because you are not white. And when people react concerning you, when people have their view concerning you, when people say, oh, but this person has done this and her ways is this and that, then my question to you is, how is it that you are going to appear and to say that I'm not going to fight apartheid battles anymore, but I'm going to release it and let it go? Because maybe if people has reacted about me, or if people had something to say concerning me, they maybe had something that they need to deal with concerning me. Maybe they have a challenge when they see me appear, and they can't deal with that challenge of seeing me appear, and they need to deal with that. So we're not in an era where we're gonna have to go back and fight on battles that people have pointed fingers on you, and people have said, but you have done this wrong, and you have done this wrong, and you have done this wrong. We are in an era where we're gonna have to say, yes, people will say you have done this wrong, and they don't agree with that, but you're going to have to release them so that they can deal with that matter of you, so that they can release you. You release them not with anger, you release them not with hatred, you release them not with abusing on the matter or with adding onto a matter that has been overcome already. Because remember, apartheid has been, we have overcome apartheid already, and still today people are still fighting those challenges in this world. But today it is not us that is going to go and point the finger at those people that still sees black as black and still sees white as white, but we are going to say that I'm going to represent with that color of a difference. So where they can only see black still, and where they can only look with the eyes of white still, I look with the eyes of seeing that on the top is yellow today, and the stop is color today, even if they only see the black and white on the stop. But what is visible in my life is color. And for me, it's not to go and explain it to them. For me, it's going to be me being me stepping back from fighting those battles, me stepping back and saying that for me to prosper, for my children to prosper, for this generation to prosper, I'm not gonna go out on the streets and still fight about black and white, but I'm gonna sit in my room and I'm going to appear with speaking up for what is required, with saying that this room is for everyone, with saying that this room is ready for everyone who is ready to prosper with where we are at in this season. Yes, we have an open door policy. Yes, our policy speaks concerning a lot of things, but no, we are not afraid to say what it is that we want to say concerning ourselves. We are not afraid to say that we accept this on ourselves, and we would not stand for anything that is not us. And that is where you can either accept what people say about you, or you can let it go and you can prosper with where you are required to be in life. Because it is easy for us to really go and fight those battles that other people has got to say about us. But it's more easier for us to say that, you know what, I don't have to explain myself. I have well matured with where I'm required to be in my life, and therefore I will take a step back. I will love those people, and I will still appear tomorrow. And that's where we come with that approach of a difference, with that approach of saying that, yes, people might have said many things concerning you. People might treat you wrong in many ways, but no, it's not about you. It's about them that will have to deal with the matter that they feel threatened by when they see you. And that is where we say that we're going into a next stage in this era with Awokh, where we speak of black and white, and not overruled with color, but we're factoring people that is ready to appear. We are factoring that approach of a person that is ready to appear with knowing, no matter what people say, no matter how they call me, no matter what they say about me, no matter if they bash me, no matter if they don't agree with what I say I'm factoring that color of a difference, and that is, we are peoples. Amen. We are not there to say that you are black and you are white. We are there to say we are peoples. Today Awokh says we are peoples. We are humanity, and therefore Awokh will continue to say what it is that is going to be the difference. So Awokh is not going to say that that person with that color today, that person with that color tomorrow. Awokh today says we are peoples, and our people's mindsets is that color of reaction that we want to see when we walk into 2023, and when we see that difference in 2023. And that's where we are headed in this season, and that's where we will continue to really stand for, and to really appear with being that difference with what it is that we have to say. I also just want to add that in our time of factoring that we are peoples, we need to understand the time that we are in. And when we used to speak about people as black and white, we recognize them in a time and era that they were in. We need to understand that 2022 is a different era. We need to understand that 2022 requires us to have a different approach in our era. And with factoring peoples in this era, we have to understand the era that we are in. We are not in an era where that we are going to factor the challenge and abuse of the previous era, but we are in an era where we overcome and where we have overcome those challenges that people, that our parents and our families have experienced. Because remember, the challenges those years were not only the people that were used to be called the people with a darker skin color, the people with a lighter skin color, but the issues was not only for those with a darker skin color, but the issues were in the households of those with a lighter skin color. Because remember, they were peoples that were really growing up in households where they saw their parents has not overcome a battle, and they were challenged with having to accept what their parents wanted them to accept. So it was not only the person who was growing up in the household where the color was a bit darker, a darker skin color, but it was also the person with a lighter skin color that went through the challenge. It was also the child with a lighter skin color that went through the challenge, because the child was not allowed to be themselves. They did not go maybe through the same challenge that we have gone through in the apartheid years, but they have gone through a challenge where their parents did not allow them to accept their friends for who their friends are. Their parents did not allow them to accept humanity for who God has created humanity to be. So they were also going through abuses in some sorts in their households. And they also had to learn to say that, you know what, this is what we are also being challenged with. And those are the peoples in this era. Those are the young children in this era. The young children that says that we accept y'all, no matter your skin color. We don't look upon your skin color, because remember, we also had challenges with our parents only seeing color of a difference, but we're seeing something else as a difference. And therefore, in this era, we factor that era of people that says we are in a different time. We are not in 1993, in 1991, in the year 1990, but we are in 2022. And those are the young children that is leading today. Those are your children, your peoples with a lighter skin color, your peoples that you now call white, that is saying that yes, you call us white. Yes, we have grown to be fine with it, but we also say that we don't have any anger or resentment towards you. We have forgiveness. We are in the season saying that yes, our friends is anyone and everyone. And yes, the black person is saying that I don't no more want my mommy to tell me that that is white. And when my mommy comes into the household, then my mommy speaks about black and white. I don't want my mommy to speak about that anymore, because I have accepted my friend in school. And yes, it's now my friend in school. So I don't want my mommy to go and fight battles, but I want my mommy to be in this time and era, to be in 2022. I don't want my mommy to go and fight battles that are not important in this era. So when we factor people, we say that what is the time that we are walking in this season? What is the time that my mindset is walking in? What is the time that our mindsets are focused on? We don't talk about time changing because we want to see a clock change back into years. We talk about time changing because we want the times to change when we look at our peoples, when we factor peoples for who they are, when we factor our young children for who they are, when we say I'm not going to have discussions about color in my household, about black and white in my household, because my child is going to school tomorrow and she's gonna meet a friend that is gonna be a different skin color, and my child would not have to be reminded that mommy said this and mommy is so angry about this, because my child is not living in 1990. My child is the child in 2022, and my child needs that space that is meant for her in 2022. And therefore, when I say we factor how it is that we speak, we factor how it is that we find ourselves, we factor what time it is that we find ourselves in 2022. We factor that we are in 2022. We are not in 1990. Yes, I'm in 2022 because my child is the teenager in 2022. So I factor how it is that I speak in my household. I factor the era that I'm in. When I speak about era, I speak about an operation of change. I speak about a different generation. I speak about a generation that is ready to prosper. Every time that you see me mentioning the word era, I want to remind you that when Awokh writes concerning an era, Awokh writes concerning that mindset of change, concerning that mindset of prosperity, concerning that mindset of being a difference. And that is where we are required to be at. We are required to be in 2022 with that mindset of operating to prosper, not operating in the ER room to operate on people's, but operating to prosper with generations' mindsets of thinking, operating with changing what it is that we say, how it is that we accept, what it is that we go and march onto, what it is that we go and say concerning our generation. Is it that I'm also breaking my generation down? Is it that I'm also keeping my generation in the year 1990 and in the battles of 1990? Or is it that I am ready to see my generation prosper? Is it that I'm angry of what I went through in the year 1990? Or is it that I say I have forgiven and I allow these people in this season that is ready to forgive to prosper with where it is that they need to be with the years moving forward? And that is us factoring people in this season. And when we factor people, we say that they have the ability to represent by leading and saying who it is that they are. We don't want to say that a leader is only the person in the parliament. We don't want to say that the leader is only the president. We don't want to say that the leader is only the principal in the school. We don't want to say that the leader is only the head lecturer. We don't want to say that the leader is only the manager in my office, but the leader is me that has got that seat to be in that office. The leader is me that is sitting in that office on a daily basis, ready to be there, ready to appear. That is me that has woken up and say that, you know what, I'm Awokh concerning where I'm at. I'm Awokh concerning how I'm thinking. I'm Awokh concerning how I walk out on a daily basis. I'm Awokh concerning what it is that I do. I'm Awokh concerning forgiving other people that has angered me. I'm Awokh concerning forgiving myself for how I have angered other people. I'm Awokh with representing, and that is factoring people. That is factoring ourselves with that ability to say that I don't need a leader to tell me that you need to lead. I know who I am. I'm Awokh with being a leader in what it is that I do on a daily basis, and that is who we are. We are leaders, and we too need to accept that role as individuals, knowing that I'm a leader. You know why? Because when I walk out there and when I look in the mirror, I see a leader. I see someone standing there. I see a representative of myself. And that is what leaders do. Leaders know that they are there, ready to know and to lead with that mindset of being a difference. And that's where we require to be with leading nations, with leading generations of people, and with knowing that you've got the ability to control what it is that you say about yourself. You don't worry about what others say about you, because remember, others will sometimes, many times, react on how they see you, but you have got the ability to say what you say about yourself. We're taking the focus and the emphasis of other people, and we say, I'm not gonna be standing in the mirror and seeing someone else standing there. But when I look into that mirror, I see Rabia Elisa. I see a representative of change, and it is what I say about myself that is going to matter. It is how I see myself when I look at myself. Have I got the guts to stand in that mirror and to look into my face and to accept myself for who I am? Have I got the guts to stand there and to say, no matter what other people see as different, I know what is different for me, and I will stand for their difference. And that is us factoring ourselves in this era. No, we don't do it to put ourselves there on a pedestal, but we do it to prosper with the generation that is ready to prosper. So what is it that you say concerning yourself? How is it that you speak about yourself? And how is it that you represent? I remember going for interviews many years ago, and when I went for interviews, I always would mention this on my Awokh pages. I think I've mentioned it last year a lot, that the interviewer asks you, what do you say about yourself? The interviewer doesn't want you to know anything else. And the interviewer's first questions are, you define yourself. You don't tell me anything about the job. You define yourself. You don't know this job, and you don't have to know this job, but you define yourself to me. The interviewer says, have you gotten to know yourself, my daughter? The interviewer says, are you ready to know who you are? Or are you going to sit there and limit yourself in this interview and say, oh, I don't have this degree. Oh, I don't have this qualification. Oh, I don't have this sports advantage, or I don't have this. But are you going to tell the interviewer that I'm Rabia Elisa, I speak for that is ready to be Awokh, and I am there to appear on a regular basis? So the interviewer asks you, what do you say about yourself? And that's where we are in era 21, with black and white overruled with color. That color is, what do you say about yourself? Don't tell me anything about this era. Don't tell me anything about the era before. But today Awokh wants you to walk with this question during this month. While we're going to prepare for a stronger season next month, we are going to ask you this question that Awokh's color of a difference that we overrule within this season is, what do you say about yourself? Not about the friend, not about the parliament leader, not about the municipality leader, not about the principal in school, but about you, the person. What do you say about yourself? Because remember, what you say is how you represent, is how someone else would be educated. Because yes, you are also a teacher. Yes, people learn from how they see you react. And therefore, a vote factor today by saying, what is it that you say about yourself? And that is representing for change. That is representing with that color of a difference. That is overcoming all those barriers that we have been challenged with, and saying that we are ready to appear by saying, I know who it is that I am, and therefore when I represent, I will be that I know that I am. That's the change that we are in this era. And when we represent, we don't go and limit ourselves, but we represent for the change that we want to see. I always say that, but it's true. I would always say that we represent for the change that we want to see in others, for the change that we want to see around us, for the change that we want to see when we look at someone else reacting. And we stand for saying that, you know what, we stand for their change. And let us continue to stand for their change, because representing with change is representing to prosper, representing with knowing that other people is going to appear differently than you appear. Other people is going to do things in a different way that you do things. Other people is going to say things in a different way that you say things. And no, we don't have to all say things in the same pattern. We don't have to all say the same things because someone else have said it. But that change that is required in this generation, in where we are at as a generation, is that change to say that I prosper with me. And people would either have to deal with it. For those who are ready to prosper with me, is ready to prosper with me. And when I say I prosper with me, I say I prosper with what it is that I speak for in every season concerning my life. And if you are ready to listen, then you are ready to be there. If you are not ready to listen to yourself, if you are not ready to learn that you know what, someone else is also out there to take your hand on this road. And that person might not be the celebrity in this room, but that person might just be Rabia Elisa. That person might just only stand for the business of Awokh, but that person is ready to take your hand. And because he knows where she's at in this season, and it's either you gonna say that, you know what, my sister, I will accept your hand and I will walk this prospering journey with you, and I will be there cheering you on because I know what I know, and I can stand for seeing someone else prospering, because that is the generation that we are in. We are there to say that we can stand to see that prospering is meant for every one of us. Prospering is not only having this person in the room because they've got the weave on, and because they've got the best lights, and because they've got the room set up. But prospering is to say that, you know what, with your iniquities, with your challenges in life, with what it is that you are limited, you are still appearing and you are still being there. And I stand for people who can stand their ground. I stand for people who can accept the space for everyone, who can say that earth is there for all of us to appear on a daily basis. And while you are here appearing, we are ready to say that we are ready to prosper with that mindset of Awokh that says the space is for everyone. Awokh does not limit because you say something different. Awokh does not limit because you speak in a different way. But Awokh says we are in a time and in an era where women would have to teach themselves that we are not going to be there jealous on one another, but we are going to accept someone else's way of speaking. We are going to accept someone else's way of appearing. We are going to accept someone else being different in their room, and we are going to listen to say that the only thing they are saying is take my hand and walk this road with me. And the Awokh is saying that either woman is gonna take one another's hand and walk this road together, or we're gonna shove our pages and we're gonna close our doors and we don't want to listen because we are not ready to prosper with that mindset of taking hands. That mindset of taking hands today is to say that we are ready to represent together, that we are ready to represent as women beings. We are ready to represent as leaders that has been born to give birth. And when we give birth with awakening what is meant to be awakening in season. And when we give birth in season, we give birth to say that this is a generation of child that is ready to be a difference on earth. And that's what parents are there for. That's what mothering are there for. That's what that giving birth season is there for. That's what Awokh color of a difference stands for. Awokh stands for knowing that we are born to give birth. Remember that the earth has been created by giving birth in season. And women, we have got that advantage of knowing our privilege, of knowing our prosperity, of knowing our step, of knowing our walk. Our walk is not a walk that you say, oh, because I don't have a child, I'm not part of this. You are part of the women people that has been born on earth with the same blessing. Whether you have given birth, whether you can't give birth, there's nothing that limits you from that value, from that mindset, from that prosperity in life to say that you are here to represent. We don't have to see you have a child to say that you are a woman. We don't have to see you have a child to say that you are a mother. We see you for being a woman, and we respect you and we accept you. We're not limiting you. We're not speaking about you. But we say that you are a mother because you have been given the blessing to be a woman on this earth. And that's where we are at with taking hands. We are mothers because we have been born to be by a mother. We have been born by a mother, a woman coming from the womb of a mother that has given birth unto this earth. That is where Awokh is at, with representing for change, with ready to appear with what is right, with leading with that mindset of what is required, and with doing what is necessary. We lead with that mindset of what is required, and we do what is necessary. That is what Awokh stands for, and that is what Awokh will continue to stand for. And therefore, Awokh wants to focus today on our perspective. How do we perceive things? How do we view things and where we are at when we see other people? And how do we prioritize better? There's three things that we focus on today also. Is our perspective. Our perspective is how do you perceive things when you see someone else? How do you accept them upon yourself? How do you have that heart and mind of forgiveness? And how do you see them as a people, as a normal human being? And how do you prioritize being better when you see someone else? We don't need you to answer anything else other than Today we answer perspective. We answer our perspective, our ways of seeing things, our ways of receiving upon ourselves, our ways of stepping out being a woman, our ways of representing with being a woman. We don't want anything else. We don't want anything else to define us, but we want to know that our perspective today is what is it that we say concerning where we are? How is it that we see where we are? How is it that we step out with where we are at? And how is it that we respect someone else that is also meant to be there? That is priority for being better. It is your perspective in this season. And I want us to focus today on our perspective. And when I say our perspective, I want to really emphasize on we need a fresh approach. We need a fresh perspective. We need a fresh way of seeing things, because every day is a new day. We don't want to see the things that happened years ago and still hold on to the pain of that. We want to see it with a new perspective. So today, when I look at what people went through, when I look at what a generation went through, I say that I don't look at what a generation went through because they went through abuse and they went through manipulation and they went through differences. But when I look at a generation of people, when I look at peoples, I see them with a fresh perspective. I walk out into my office, I walk onto the television stations, I walk onto the radio stations, I walk onto representing with where it is that I'm at, with seeing things with a fresh perspective, with looking at peoples and seeing peoples, with looking at color and seeing color. I don't want to see anything else other than this top has got a background that is white, a background that is pure, a background that is ready to prosper. And I see these peoples with that color of a difference that say, you accept us for who we are and you don't go and limit us, but you see a new view, you see a new vision with where it is that you find yourself in life. And that is where we are freeing ourselves with saying that our fresh approach in season, our fresh perspective in season, our fresh way of receiving upon ourselves, our fresh way of releasing into the atmosphere is to say that we step out with that mindset of being different. We step out with that mindset of I don't see black and I don't see white, but I see a peoples of color. I don't see black and I don't see white. I see a peoples of color. I see humanity. I see creation. I see a woman. I see a father. I see a dad that is ready to be there. And that is the season that we are in. And in the season, Awokh has asked many times on the social pages, she said that, you know what, men, can you be a man about it? Can you stand up for it? Because we know you are strong. We know who you are. We know you are the father in the house, and we respect you for that. And we don't put a barrier. We don't limit you, but we say, can you be a man about it? When you see us appearing in the season, can you say, wow, but that woman is the woman. She is the mother of this house. She is the mother of this community. She is a woman that is ready to be there, respecting where she's at. And therefore we say that we don't disrespect when we speak and when we speak about a woman in this era, but we say, can you be a man about it? Can you man up for it? Can't you stand your ground for it? Can't you say that, wow, this is what it is meant to be, and we don't say anything else? That is a fresh perspective in this season. It's leading with that mindset that we are not too focused on being still limited by our challenges, but that we see our challenges as our qualities, right? Our challenges that says that you're ready to step forward. Our challenges that said that you are ready to be there. Our challenges that says that we are ready to accept one another for where it is that we are required to be. So when we see one another's challenges out there in the season, we don't see it as a challenge, we see it as a quality. A quality is that stronger factor. And in the season, our fresh approach with our perspective, with how we see things, with how we accept it upon ourselves, is we accept it with forgiveness. We accept it with releasing. We accept it with saying you can prosper. We accept it with saying you are ready to be there. That is your fresh perspective in that season. With that reaction of fighting for what is required, of protecting where you are today and of saying that we're ready to be in tomorrow. That's where we say, man, can you be a man about it and say that I am ready to fight for this, I am ready to protect this, and I am ready to prosper with where I'm at with being a man on this earth. And that is what it is about. We respect one another, and we say that the way that we appear is that we are ready to appear. And that is our fresh perspective required in this season. Our approach of educating during the season is say that we know that we are ready to educate better. We are ready to appear for better. We are ready to represent for better. And we say we're doing that. We say that the classroom is for everyone. That the classroom, when we represent, is a classroom that is not going to exclude, is a classroom that is not going to limit, is a classroom that is not going to put a barrier, but the classroom is for everyone. That is a vote today. That is a fresh perspective. And that fresh perspective says, I accept good on me. I can stand for what is challenging and intimidating and manipulating and might seem abusing, but I can be a man about it. Women can say that I have given birth concerning it. I have been given birth to by a mother, and therefore I am ready to be here. No one can tell me anything else. No one can tell me that you need this accreditation and that accreditation. But Awokh is saying, have your fresh perspective of saying that, you know what, this classroom that is called creation says that we are ready to prosper. That's our mindset. We don't prosper by only protecting ourselves, but to protect everyone, everything concerning us. And our emphasis on leadership change today is your different approach, your different way of seeing things, and leading with what is required. Not with leading with how you want to lead, but leading with what is required. That's where we're at in the season. And then we also focus on, with closing this session, we have our revelationaire factor. I'm going to make time for our revelationaire factor. That's our reaction of leading. And then I will focus on leading with traditional views and leading with reality. And therefore, when we do our revelationaire session, I will have everyone also tuned in onto that session. And I will have everyone focused onto what is it that we are saying concerning what is revealed to us. Remember, we stopped today at perspective. We will still continue with perspective next month. But how is it that we see things? What is it that we accept upon ourselves? And how is it that we step out better? That is how I explain perspective to you today. You go and read perspective up. But I tell you, perspective to Awokh today means, how is it that you see things? How is it that you accept it upon yourself? And how is it that you step out better, releasing to prosper? Our emphasis on perspective is we release to prosper. When my child exits the house to go to school, I release her to prosper. I release her to be ready to appear so that someone else in a classroom can prosper. We are there to say that this classroom of Awokh is for everyone. Our freedom of black and white is therefore overruled by color, overruled by appearing with that fresh mindset, with the emphasis on a generation that is ready to represent. To represent is one thing, but to be ready to represent is something else. And therefore, we don't only represent with saying what it is that we want to say, but we should be ready to represent. We're doing what is required. We're doing what is right. And therefore, we say our first perspective is our freedom, not of what we say, but our freedom of who we are. Remember, our first perspective when you go into your workplace is not what you say, but it is who you are. Because Awokh can say many things and something else can change tomorrow in an instant, and then Awokh appears with something else. So your freedom with that first perspective is not listening only to what Awokh says, but concerning who you are when you step out of the classroom, when you step out of Awokh's pages, when you appear in your office. How is it that you are going to appear? You can be listening in and perceiving, and then you can't be accepting anything that is required, but it is how you step out that is going to make the difference, that only you can set yourself free. Because this Rabia can say 1,020,000 words, but it is how are you going to set yourself free. Because remember, Nelson Mandela was in prison for more than 40 years, right? And when they were in prison, they had challenges for those 40 years. And when they had challenges, they stood for a generation of change. But it is not today Nelson Mandela appearing. It is today Rabia Elisa Awokh appearing with saying, how am I going to say what it is that I say? How am I going to represent myself? Because no, I'm not Nelson Mandela, but I am Rabia Elisa. No, I have not known every challenge that they have gone through, but I know what Rabia Elisa experiences in this era. And therefore, we were not set free by Nelson Mandela, but it is me, myself, Rabia Elisa, that can set myself free. Nelson Mandela cannot set me free. He has done it many years ago, what is required to be done. But in these years, we need to learn it's not going to be your president that's going to give you that freedom of who you are. You're going to have to find that freedom within knowing who you are and stepping out and being just that. That is where we are in the season. We are a people who are free to be who they are and where they are in 2022. We are a people who are ready to be who they are and where they are in 2022. A peoples, therefore, ready to prosper. A peoples that says, I don't see any barriers when I look at this photo, but I see the color of a difference when I look at another photo. I say that I don't see any barrier when I look at these peoples. I see peoples that today they wear t-shirts and they say that I'm ready to speak for what it is that I want to say. And people have a t-shirt to say that, you know what, I have something to say. And sometimes people don't listen to all the 1,000 words, but sometimes I can wear this and say, we stand for peoples, we stand for humanity, we stand for creation. And sometimes we might change and we might differ in our views, because remember, this is a reggae t-shirt, and remember, everyone has got something to say concerning the type of music and the type of religions that they are. But we are all speaking and we are all there appearing to say that we are a peoples that are ready to be a difference. So today Awokh says it's not about the black undershirt that's going to be the difference. It's not about the white undershirt. I see the orange slightly a bit, but it's Rabia Elisa that is appearing, and that is where we require to be. And therefore, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will continue on our discussions on a monthly basis. Yes, we still owe our people our vouchers, but we will do that at an appropriate time. But for now, let us be ready to represent. That is who we are. That is Awokh for today. That is Awokh for the season, and that is Awokh 2022. Prosper, stronger, ready, and better. Have a stronger season. Thank you. Oh,